Welcome back to Agbada YouTube channel. In today's class, I'm going to show you how I made this inner dress. You can also call this camisole for this Agbada, draped Agbada that we see here. So it's a very simple tutorial. You can wear it on the Agbada or you can just wear it for a bubu. Okay, so this is what the camisole looks like. It's a full length spaghetti camisole. I'm going to be taking you through how to cut and sew this. If this is something you like to learn, stay tuned. Thank you. This is a spaghetti strap camisole, so it's going to be cut in form of an off shoulder. You can also make it a full shoulder camisole if you want as well, but this is what I am working with. It's going to be full length and it's going to be worn under an Agbada. The tutorial of the Agbada is already on the channel as well, so you can check it out. It's draped Agbada. So because it's going to be off, like I said, you can see I have placed my tape in a way that is off by 6 inches, so you can make it off by 5 or 4 inches depending on what you want. So I think 5.5 is fine for me. So from there I'm going to mark my armhole measurement. My armhole is 9 inches. I'm going to mark my waistline measurement. That's my half length. So my half length is 16 inches. I'm going to mark the hip line measurement. My hip line is 26 inches, and then the next measurement you will need is your full length. I hope this marker is obvious. I don't want to mark on the fabric too much, so I'm just trying to make it as faint as possible, but I'm still going to extend it so that we can see what I'm doing. So this is my waistline and this is the hip line. Okay, so now we're going to work on our neckline. Here, this upper part now is the neckline. So you can take your chest measurement, that's your from one armhole area to the other where the strap is going to be basically, or you can just work with your shoulder measurement and then you divide that, you subtract 2 to 3 inches from that depending on how you want it to be. So my actual shoulder for this is 14, whereby 2 is 7. So if I'm subtracting 2 inches from that, it will leave me with 5 inches. Okay, so I just want to add like allowance to it, so I'm going to mark it at 5.5 or even 6 inches. Okay, but you can just measure where you want it placed so that you have an exact measurement that you need. So after that, now to create my armhole line, the bust I'm working with is 42 inches. 42 divided by 4 is 10.5. So here I'm going to mark 10.5, and then I can add half an inch for his, and then I'm going to mark my seam allowance. So now I'm going to connect that. Okay, so after marking those points, now I'm going to mark the neck measurements that I'm working with. That's the neck depth. So remember, my tape is already on 5.5. I've gone up by 5.5 inches, so you have to bear in mind. So I want the depth to be around 7.5, 8 inches thereabout. So I'm placing it here. I don't want it too high so that it's not going to be showing on what they are wearing on it, but at the same time you should not make it too low. So now I'm going to place my ruler and connect from this depth, which is 8 inches, to the 6 inches, 5.5 or 6 inches depending on what you're working with, and then I'll connect it. So this is my neckline. I'm using the same neckline for both front and back. If you want your back neckline to be higher, you just measure it differently. So after that, now from that point again, I'm going to use the same curved ruler to connect here for my armhole. So you can see that it's very simple to make. Don't need to do too much, and that is it. So now the next measurement is going to be on my half length so that I can get to a waistline measurement. The waist I'm working with is 34 inches. 34 divided by 4 is 8.5. so here I'm going to mark 8.5. I'm working with a lycra fabric, so it's a bit stretchy, that's why I'm not adding so much. I'll add just half an inch for ease, and then my seam allowance. If the fabric you are working with is not so stretchy, you may need to add enough ease allowance to it, so that it's an inner dress. It's not supposed to be so tightly fitted, but my fabric is a little stretchy, so that's why I'm not adding so much to it. Here I'm connecting my waist to my hip, my bust to my waist, and then I'm going to move it now and mark my hip line here. The hip is 44 divided by 4 is 11, so here I'm going to mark 11 inches. I'm going to add ease to that as well, half an inch, and then I'm going to add my seam allowance. So here now I'm going to place my ruler again and connect from, I'm going to place my ruler. I'm just trying to make it as smooth as possible. I don't want it too sharp at any point. Okay, so now I have connected from my waist to my hip, and then this hip measurement is what I'm just going to take down. Okay, you can make it in form of an hairline if you have enough fabric, so that it can be a little free on the hem, and then you just connect it straight. But for me, I'm just matching this with what I have here, and then I'm going to cut this out. So it's as simple as that. You are done cutting the drafting this. So I'm coming in with my scissors, and then I'm going to cut out the neckline. Here I'm going to cut the armhole, and then we're going to cut our side seam. So here I'm cutting out the side seam. Like I said, the front and back cutting is the same for me, but if you want yours to be different, especially the neck area, then you just cut it out separately. So what I'm doing here is just opening up the other side, because the fabric is folded into 4, so that I can cut the front and back together. So what we need to do now is just to bring out our bias and turn the neckline and also the armhole area, so that we can create the strap. So this is what we have now so far. So you can use your bias, your regular bias, or you can use your fabric to cut out a bias. So now this is my leftover fabric, and I'm going to cut out bias from it. So difference is that it's not going to be cut on this straight length. Okay, you're just going to put it on fold like this, like a triangle, so that it can roll very well, so that it can stretch. That's the essence of cutting it on bias, so that by the time you are taking it through the corners, remember, this is where we are sewing it. Where we are sewing it on is not straight. Okay, all this curve, so that it can fit perfectly. That's why we are doing this. So I just put this on fold now, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut out the strips from this. So I have cut out the strips now, you can see. So I'm going to be using this for the armhole and these two for the neckline. So the next thing we need to do now is to bring in the dress. So we are going to turn the neckline first before the armhole. So just like you turn with your normal bias, I'm going to sew this around the neckline and then flip it over. So I'm going to turn it. You can see this is what the neckline looks like now. This is the back, and this is what the other one look like as well. This is the front, and this is the back. So after turning with your bias like this, the next thing now is to turn the armhole area as well. So this is the armhole. I'm going to pick my bias, and then I will start sewing from here. That's from the bust area. Okay, so you sew it forward like this, and then when I get here, I'm going to include my strap before I continue sewing. So after sewing it up to here, what I'm going to do is to bring out my tape now, and then I'm going to mark out 10 inches. So that's 5 for front and 5 for back. I'm working with 10 inches because remember I came down by 5.5 inches when I was drafting, and I want it to be as firm as possible. That's why I'm just working with 5 inches for the front and then 5 inches for the back, which makes it 10. So after leaving that 5 inches, I'm going to bring in the back. and then continue sewing to the armhole area. I hope you understand. So after leaving it to your 10 inches, now you're going to bring this now and then continue sewing. So I'll go and do that now and bring it back. Okay, so this is what I was explaining. What you just need to do is to sew your bias right side. You place it on the right side so that you can turn it to the wrong side like this. So you are going to sew the armhole. Then after sewing the armhole, I measured 10 inches before I placed the back. So you sew the armhole and stop, and then you go ahead and mark 10 inches so you can see. So at exactly 10 inches now, I started placing the back just the same way I did, and then I sew it as well. So after sewing it now, I'm going to go ahead and flip like this so that it can be turned neatly. So you're going to flip it and sew. So you're going to sew the armhole area. When you get to the strap part, what you need to do, remember there is no dress that you are sewing this to, is a strap. So you're just folding in the rough edges like this on this side. You do the same thing for the other side, and then you close it up just like this. So that way you're going to be able to sew this part as well completely. So you can see what I have done. So you're going to sew on it. So it's advisable that you hold it with a pin first before you go ahead to sew, and then after sewing that, you complete what you are doing. So I have done this for this side. Now you can see I have sewn it in. I'm just going to cut off the thread. So after that, what you just need to do is to place them on each other, and then you sew the side with the allowance that you left and hem it on the lower part. This is what it looks like after joining the two sides together. You just need to hem it on the lower part and your camisole is ready. So I'm going to be wearing this under a kimono, a draped kimono, Agbada, like I mentioned, but it can be used for Iro and Buba, for Bubu, or anything you just don't want that is transparent and you don't want your body to be showing. So the tutorial on how you can make this draped Bubu is also uploaded on the channel as well. So if you want to learn how to make this, you can check it out. So you can see what the camisole is looking like. It can be long or short based on what you want. I hope you enjoy making this with me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.